So, the lecture on Gabriel is how to recapture the spirit of joy. How do angels help us do this? One thing about joy, and that is we need to prime the pump. We need to prime the pump of the well until we finally get the water of joy. We have to put ourselves into joy if we want to receive and hold the joy of angels. Gabriel says if you want to maintain the spirit of joy, you have to learn how to hold on to the light. Holding on to the light, because your light is your joy, and your joy is your light. He says to determine to hold the light, to have the light, to be the light, to know the light, and to be a servant of the light, even while you are becoming the master of that light. This is the calling of the hour. Jesus said to his disciples, that my joy might be in you and that your joy might be full. Jesus was in the hour of preparing for his crucifixion, and yet he spoke of the joy in his heart, in his sacred heart, the fiery heart that God has given to all of us. We need to bank the fires of the heart with joy. We need to get rid of hardness of heart, criticism, condemnation, judgment, gossip regarding one another. We need to keep our thoughts high, and when we see someone coming toward us, not tear them apart, but see them in their inner, real, true self. See the light around them, the Christ presence, their angels. Reinforce that and greet them with the same joy that Jesus has. It takes effort. You can't just paste it on. You can't go through this or that formula or this or that success course. You are not robots to God. You are free will, conscious beings who have the potential to realize God and have the free will not to. You can be a sad sack and nobody can do a thing about it, not even an angel who will dance and do cartwheels in front of you all day. If you make up your mind that you're going to be grumpy and in a grumpy mood, that's your free will, and the angels will not interfere. So you need to protect the light in the base of the spine chakra, in and all of your chakras. That is Archangel Gabriel's caution. He says the life force of the base chakra is intended to be raised to the crown and the third eye by meditation on the I Am Presence. When you give devotions to your I Am Presence, you magnetize that energy, and it ascends from the base chakra to the crown chakra. It really should be ascending and descending, available to you in each and every chakra for whatever uses you would like to put it. In the East, this light or life force, as you know, is called the Kundalini. It's the mother light. It's the mother lode. As this life force passes up through the channel connecting your chakras, it nourishes each chakra with the purity of the mother light. When the life force is perverted or abused, it contaminates all the other chakras. If the life force is spent entirely, there's nothing left that can rise and activate the other chakras. When you raise the pure light of the base chakra to the crown and hold that light in your chakras, you can be highly creative in your job, in your home, everywhere you go. You're full of ideas because that light is pulsating. Those who can serve the mother light are the most creative individuals in every field. They're also the most joyous. Joy in the heart is the fire of creativity. People who have no joy often have no light. They may spend it in gossip and putting down others. It's possible to misuse the light in any of the 7 chakras. Gabriel and his angels help you to recapture the spirit of joy, even as they help you to recapture and keep the light. Gabriel says that the spirit of joy comes to you when the light is flowing in your chakras. When you protect that light and do not allow it to be violated, you have the energy, the strength, the chi, the key in your being. When you are strong because God's light is in you, you can work the works of God. Gabriel says that the flow of light in your chakras from the base to the crown was designed by God to keep you in a state of sheer ecstasy and joy and perfect health. That is the nourishing light that nourishes all of your organs. Without that light in flow, he says, degeneration, decay, disease, and death set in. I'm going to give you one of the most fantastic calls I have ever seen, just to call forth the light. Close your eyes and formulate a very concise prayer as to where you wish this light directed that you are now calling forth. Now, whatever you have said in worded prayer, visualize with your mind's eye. Take just enough attention to say the words, but keep that thought form in front of you where you are directing this light. Together. I am light within, without. Expand, expand, and forever expand. Field of consciousness within, without. Absorb God's light and then command. Light of God to forever expand. Fill the world, the land, the air, the sea and sky and everywhere with awareness, for I am there. Sharing God in joyous prayer. Beyond the earth in outer space, expand the power of cosmic grace. Our God is there and everywhere, and where I am, O thou art too. To increase awareness of thy truth and show me in my I am I the holy beauty of the sky. I see thy light of diamond hue, sparkling, shining through and through the pores of self in body large, the macrocosmic universe. I am with thee, O God, I see the light expand this path to thee. The power flows, my being glows, and Christ within without me shows. I am the way to peace and power. Thy spirit makes me one this hour. O God, demand and now command thy presence in our holy band of devotees of heaven's grace. Show me, command me to take my place. In freedom's band I'll ever stand. By victory's power I wake this hour to feel that flow of power. Blaze right through me, light of God, spiral nebulized sons of light. Blaze right through me, truth of God, fill my mind with great delight. I am thy grace, manifest here, thy perfect love is shining clear. Command thy selfhood to be mine, expand, expand in heaven's name. Command my soul to be thy flame, expand, expand, O love divine. Some of the early Christians, known as Gnostics, had a unique belief about angels. The Gnostics were members of early Christian sects who believed that they possessed the secret or mystical teachings of Jesus. A Gnostic was a person who believed that this special knowledge was the way to salvation. Some Gnostic writings teach that the spiritual counterpart of the Gnostic is an angel. This angel is your guardian angel, as I have said, and I have called that guardian angel your Holy Christ self. The goal of the Gnostic is to become the bride of his angel. The Gnostic teacher, Heraclian, calls this angelic counterpart the husband of the Gnostic. Scholar Elaine Pagels says that in Gnostic writings, the elect are enjoined to prepare to receive the divine bridegroom. Now, this is a teaching that has come down through the mystical path of Christianity. It is the bonding of the soul to that Christ presence, and the term that is used is the alchemical marriage. Your soul is actually not immortal until she goes through this alchemical marriage of the bonding to your Christ self. So again, you see the Christ self is above you in the chart, and through love and good works and great prayers, you are able to come closer and closer to Christ until the promise is fulfilled. Jesus said, "He that will obey my Father and obey me, we will take up our abode in their temple." So the Christ presence comes to live in our temple, and ultimately, as I said before in the ritual of the Ascension, you are one with the I Am presence. The Gnostics assigned to the soul who abides in the human body the feminine gender. They referred to her as she, and they assigned to the angel, the Holy Christ self, the masculine gender. So we understand that this is a very sacred process, and when you are on the path of union with God, this is your daily goal, that your soul might become bonded to Jesus Christ, to your own holy Christ self, and that you might walk the earth in the likeness of the Christ. If you use the book by Thomas à Kempis on the imitation of Christ and read a couple of pages each night, it keeps you in the way of doing what Jesus would do and learning what is the real profile of the Christ. So, as I have said, Archangel Gabriel and Hope serve on the white ray, which is the center sphere of your causal body and the base of the spine chakra. It represents the purity of God, the perfection, the discipline, the joy. Hope is the great Archaea who serves with Gabriel, endowing us with hope, displacing despair. The chakra has 4 petals. The name of the chakra is the Muladhara chakra. Their day is Friday. They work to the first band. The angels have retreats in the earth, as do Elohim and other beings of light. And so Gabriel and Hope's retreat is between Sacramento and Mount Shasta, California. That is in the heaven world on the etheric plane. But it is a location, and it is a place you can visit while you are asleep. Your soul can take a visit to the inner temples of light in the heaven world that are directed by the angels. Gabriel and Hope also serve at the Temple of the Resurrection over the Holy Land and at the Ascension Temple at Luxor, Egypt. Again, this is a spiritual temple on the inner planes. Just before you retire at night, you can call to Archangel Michael and his legions of angels, who are the ultimate protectors, to escort you to realms of light to attend classes at the universities of the Spirit that are on the levels of the heaven world. Although you may not remember what you have studied in one of the Archangel's retreats, your soul does know. Our souls learn lessons every day that our minds are not aware of. We have a great inner knowing in our souls. So little by little, when you make it a point every night to pray to Archangel Michael to take you to these retreats where you should be studying, that information trickles down to your outer awareness. Sometimes you say, I have an idea, and it is really a memory of something you've picked up in those inner schools of learning. The word Gabriel itself means God is my strength, or man or hero of God. His symbol is the lily. In the Old Testament, Archangel Gabriel is the messenger sent by God to interpret Daniel's visions and to give him understanding and wisdom. Jewish tradition says Gabriel gave Joseph, son of Jacob, and Moses instruction to prepare them for leadership. In rabbinic writings, Gabriel is the Prince of Justice. In one system of the Kabbalah, which is a system of Jewish mysticism, Gabriel embodies the ninth sphira on the tree of life, Yesod. There are 10 sphirot on the tree of life. They are aspects of God's being, degrees of divine manifestation. Yesod is the foundation and represents the procreative life force of the universe. Muslims call Gabriel the Spirit of Truth. In Islamic tradition, he is described as the angel of revelation, who repeatedly came to instruct the prophets. Muslims believe that Gabriel was the angel who dictated the Quran to Muhammad. In Christian tradition, Gabriel is the angel of the Annunciation and of the Incarnation. He sponsors the incarnation of the Christ and the Buddha in each of us. Gabriel announced to Zacharias that John the Baptist would be born to his wife, Elizabeth. Gabriel announced to Mary that she would bear the Christ child Jesus, and told Joseph that Mary was with child. Archangel Gabriel teaches an exercise for holding the light of joy and sealing your chakras. This is something you can do with me now. Place your left hand over your heart, basically in the center of your chest, because we're dealing not only with the heart, but the heart chakra. Then on top of the left hand, we put our right hand. Now in that position, visualize yourself drawing out of your heart with your right hand a white disc. So see a fiery white disc about the size of a saucer at the place of the center of the chest cavity, which includes your heart. Gabriel calls this white disc an electrode of energy. Keep your hands there. Center your love in your heart. Feel the fire of God intensifying in your heart. See it as white fire becoming pink, which is the color of the heart chakra, the color of love. Now, still holding your left hand on your heart, don't move your left hand, but place your right hand 1 to 2 inches above your crown chakra. With your left hand, you are drawing energy from your heart, and with your right hand, you are placing this energy over the crown chakra. Now the energy that is feeding your heart is coming down that crystal clear channel of light, the crystal cord that comes from your I Am presence. So that enters through the crown chakra, comes to the heart. Then you are taking that energy from the heart. You don't move your left hand, but you feel your left hand drawing the energy from your heart. And your right hand is placing it over the crown chakra. Now close your eyes and visualize this white disc over the crown. It is a disc of light charging your crown chakra. You can move your hand in a slight rotating motion clockwise right above the crown chakra. Visualize the white disc over the crown. It is intense white fire, as brilliant as the sun shining on new fallen snow. It's a blinding white light of tremendous energy. It's charging your crown chakra. As I'm doing this, I'm feeling my crown chakra tingling from the light. Now you are transmitting white fire to your crown chakra. The palms of both of your hands are what are called secondary chakras. So you can transfer the fire of God through your palms. Continue to move your hand in a slight rotating motion clockwise to activate the flow of light. And when you feel that you have made that contact and it is intense enough, you leave your left hand over your heart and move your right hand to about 1 inch in front of your third eye and do the same thing. Visualize this spinning, turning, white fire saucer over the third eye. You rotate your hand clockwise and feel the energy activating your third eye. Some of you will feel a tingling in the third eye and throughout the entire head. Be in a receptive mode to this light. Receive the light. Open your heart to the light, your crown, your third eye. If you're able to feel the tingling in the third eye, then when it has reached its peak, you are ready to take your right hand and put it in front of the throat chakra and do the same thing. Visualize this saucer of light, dazzling white light, now at the base of the neck, activating the thyroid, the thymus. See it turning. Feel the fire activating the power center. You feel the tingling moving down from the crown, through the third eye, through the inner ear, down the neck, and you feel it now at the base of the neck. When you have accomplished this, move your hand to within an inch over your heart, retaining the left hand in place. Left hand is drawing that energy, distributing it to the right. Rotate the right hand over the heart. You can take deep breaths. Feel yourself charging your heart, your physical heart, your heart chakra, the 12 petals, the pink chakra. This is a guarding action, a sealing action, an invigorating action. When you have completed the heart, go to the point of the navel. Feel the light going in and establishing absolute peace as you rotate your right hand over the navel area. Let go all that is not at peace in your world, in your life. Disagreements, friction, unresolved problems. Let the fire consume them and accept the gift of cosmic Christ peace at the level of your solar plexus. Jesus' mantra for the solar plexus is, "Peace, be still, and know that I am God." Peace, be still, and know that I am God. Peace, be still, and know that I am God. Now you go to the seat of the soul chakra, midway between the navel and the base of the spine. The soul is very tender, very fragile. The soul, it equates with your inner child, and yet is all-wise and all-knowing. Seal now your soul in the fire of the Christ. Visualize this dazzling white saucer over the seat of the soul chakra. Reassure your soul. O soul of mine, be at peace. O soul of mine, be at peace. O soul of mine, be at peace. Now go to the base of the spine. Again, rotate and seal the base of the spine chakra, the 4 petals, the white fire, the mother light. Now take your hand and raise it slowly up the line of your chakras as shown on the chart, keeping your left hand over the heart. You can stop at each of your chakras, back to the crown. You can do it slowly and do it several times, beginning at the base. Seal and raise the light. Consciously will it to rise. Place your right hand back to your heart for the completion of the ritual. Then, if you are so inclined, you can chant the Om. This is an exercise you can do upon awakening. Before you even get out of bed in the morning, you can do this entire exercise. We all know the feeling of being in a state of great happiness, and then along comes someone who's in a blue funk or a black cloud. They have nothing positive to say about anything or anyone. And all of a sudden your little smile turns down and you feel kind of glum. Archangel Gabriel says that that's when you need to invoke your tube of light, call for the violet flame, and seal your chakras with this exercise. He says this is something you can do several times a day, especially when you feel drained after being in a crowd. One theme that Gabriel often sounds is, God needs you. There's a partnership to be had with the archangels of God, working together shoulder to shoulder for the victory. Only when you call upon the archangels can they enter your world and rescue life. For the law of free will remains the keynote of the path of initiation. Unless we exercise our God-given free will to call to the archangels, they may not enter your life and help you solve your problems. Remember this. God in the heart of an archangel or an angel needs your specific command, your certain word, in order to take action in your behalf. If you can't think of anything else to say to an angel, just say, Archangel Michael, help me, help me, help me. Just send out an SOS if you're in trouble and you need help right now. This statement notwithstanding, many of you have experienced the intercession of angels in your life. That is, they've come to you without your actually calling to them or saying a prayer. But there's a reason for this. It's come to you because you have an ongoing relationship with God and His angels from this and past lives, even though outwardly you may not even be aware of it. Your soul has an ongoing relationship with God and the angels. Or perhaps from the level of the subconscious mind, your soul is crying out to God, imploring His assistance, irrespective of what your outer mind is doing. Then there's the prayer of the heart that may not even be articulated in words or consciously formulated, that reaches the throne of grace and receives an immediate response directly from the heart of God. Even the prayer of desire, the all-consuming desire to liberate loved ones from the bondage of pain and suffering, is answered by God's angelic ministrants. You may not be conscious that your soul is and has been for a long time engaged in interior prayer. Rest assured that God always answers the prayer of the heart. In addition, He answers by way of sending His ministering angels to be your guides, guardians, and friends.
You're watching Elizabeth Clare Prophet, world-renowned author and founder of Summit University. Summit University is located at the beautiful Royal Teton Ranch in Park County, Montana, just north of Yellowstone National Park. If you'd like more information, call 1-800-245-5445. That's 1-800-245-5445.
And so the law is that God gave us free will in the footstool kingdom. We went out from His flaming presence. We went out of the realms of perfection. We made karma. God said, I'm giving you free will in the entire material universe. Do what you will. You've rejected my angels, rejected my help. Now if you want help, you have to call upon us, because I have guaranteed to you and vouchsafed to you free will in everything you do. That's why people can commit murders, do child abuse, they can torment children, abuse them, they can feed them the wrong foods, give them tobacco, give them drugs. No angel comes along and stops the child from dying or falling into the furnace or the fire or whatever. That is because there was no one there to make the call, and within the people involved, there was no desire to have the intercession of angels. You see, if God interceded in everything we did, we would become angry at God. Just when we would get ready to do something, God or His angel would stop us. So we'd never have the experience of learning from our mistakes or from our good ideas. So we really do have total freedom. We do have total free will. But the angels are under absolute law of God. They must answer every call we make as long as it is in keeping with God's will. Gabriel says we are the armies assigned to the sons and daughters of God, and we enter the earth to do his will in answer to your call. When your commands are in keeping with that will and consecrated to it, there is unerring assistance. Sophie Burnham, in her book Angel Letters, published a letter from a woman who claims that the angels are very good at finding jobs for the unemployed. She says that when she was 12 years old, her father lost his job at the steelworks. He couldn't find work, and his part-time jobs were not enough to support the family. The woman says that on the way home from school one day, she walked into her church. I decided to go in and pray for help for my father, she writes. While walking up the center aisle, a very strange feeling came over me, somewhat like a drunken state when you forget all your problems. I prayed, and I knew that my prayer would be answered. I walked home without a care in the world, and when my mother told me that my father had found work that very day, I decided to keep my experience a secret. She says she felt that the angels had given her father that job. 40 years later, she had a similar experience. She writes, my son Dean had called me during the day to ask me to send some resumes to prospective employers. He had been driving 18-wheelers for a national company and had started to hate his job. He missed home and his girlfriend and wanted to find a local place to work, a difficult task because unemployment is high in our area. After posting 2 letters he wanted to send, I could not find the third address. I had opened the yellow pages for help and found that it had opened to a page of building suppliers. Suddenly that feeling of 40 years earlier warmed up inside me. The name of one local supplier stood out. I felt so confident that this company would hire my son that I wrote a letter in his name asking for a job. I prayed in church on Sunday that a job would open up for him. On Monday morning, the phone rang and Dean was asked to come in for an interview, and the next day he had the job. The day the letter had arrived, an employee had quit his job and they needed help immediately. Perhaps the angels have an employment office. Here's a very graphic example of how the angels responded to the prayer of a distressed mother. This story appeared in the December 1992 issue of Ladies' Home Journal. Shirley, a nurse, had just finished working in the night shift at the hospital. As she prepared to say her morning devotions, a strange feeling came over her. She absolutely knew that Janie, her 13-year-old daughter, was in danger. An icy cold swept over her, and wrenching sobs shook her body. Meanwhile, more than 1,500 miles away, Janie, on vacation in Arizona, had wandered away from her brother and sister-in-law, fascinated by her first view of the painted desert. She stepped over the low guardrail to get a better look and lost her footing. Tumbling down the sloping canyon walls, Janie frantically tried to grab onto something. She began sliding faster and faster, swept towards certain death. Back in Michigan, Shirley, in desperation, called on the angels to save her daughter. Aloud, she read Psalm 91, "For he shall give his angels charge over you to keep you in all your ways. They shall bear you up in their hands, lest you dash your foot against a stone." As the family later reconstructed the scene, it was at the exact moment when Shirley finished her prayers that Janie miraculously slid to a stop 50 yards from where she had fallen. It was as if an invisible hand had reached across her path and caught her. With no help in sight, the dazed girl slowly inched her way back up by sitting down and pushing herself backward. As Janie reached the top, Shirley felt overwhelmed by a great sense of peace. She knew her daughter was safe now. Archangel Gabriel urges us to engage in perpetual prayer. The Apostle Paul advised the Thessalonians, "Pray without ceasing." What is perpetual prayer? Gabriel says perpetual prayer is the prayer of the heart that does always pray even while you go about your business and deal with all those things that are required of your karma. You can give very short little sentences that are prayers. You can feel the love of God welling up in your heart, such a great love of God that you want to call to his angels to bring that love to all who need comfort and who are mourning. Archangel Gabriel often reminds us that God has sent the 7 archangels for the rescue of the people of light on earth. This was the theme of the dictations given by the 7 archangels at our New Year's 1981 conference, the Class of the Archangels. We have an 8-cassette tape album of all of those dictations, and they are also bound in a 1981 volume of Pearls. This is the Pearl volume of the printed word, and these are the dictations on tape that you can put on and listen to. And when you play these on audio or videotape, the presence of the angels is there, and it's as if it was happening for the first time. You receive a tremendous blessing. These are landmark messages. Gabriel warned in his dictation that there are forces on non-physical levels that move against you by subtle means. They make you vulnerable to addictions, to substances like nicotine, alcohol, and drugs. These substances block the flow of light in the chakras, leading to poor judgment, paranoia, and other emotional disorders. Gabriel said these forces can also work against you by penetrating your mind and heart with what he calls aggressive mental suggestion. These forces can project doubt and fear and make you think these are your own emotions when they are not your own emotions. This is why you have to know who you are and what you believe and what you think, and not let some other invisible force influence you. Gabriel says your greatest protection against these negative forces is to pray daily to the archangels and to keep your chakras and your 4 lower bodies pure. Your 4 lower bodies mesh. You have a physical body which you can see. Meshing into that body is the desire body, then the mental body, which is the cognitive mind, then the memory body, which contains all the records of your soul that you have had ever since you came forth from God eons ago. Gabriel says those who walk in the way of righteousness, those who respond to the I Am Presence, those who are open and pure in heart and not deceitful, are clear channels for the light to flow. And that light, as a mighty waterfall, daily cleanses and purifies the 4 lower bodies. He warns you cannot survive without the necessary ablutions of mind, heart, and body. You cannot survive without observing basic dietary laws. You cannot be alert and experience the full-orbed integration with your Christ self when you take in substances or drugs or impurities that temporarily or for long periods impede the fullness of the flow of light. Understand that whenever you are out of alignment with your Christ mind, much is at stake. There are many things that can block the flow of light at different levels of your being. In the physical body, dense food, chemicals, additives, all types of drugs. In the etheric or memory body, the past records that need to be consumed with a violet flame, because those past records you start revolving, especially when you get to a certain age, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, people are continually revolving the past instead of looking forward to a future of light and glory. And that is because we need the violet flame to cleanse the memory body. The mental body, spiritual and intellectual pride, disobedience, envy. In the desire body, inordinate desires clog the body. That body is intended to express our desiring for God and to be in His service. Archangel Gabriel will assist you in purifying yourself at all levels of your being, and you can do that by using the violet flame decrees at the end of your angel booklet. Gabriel promises that if you call to him in the name of your I Am Presence and Christ Self, he will give you the full momentum of his own attainment of purity to help purify your motives and desires. Gabriel teaches that when you are not centered in your Christ consciousness, the angels cannot use you to anchor their light to save the earth. You might wonder how God can use you to save the earth. Well, Gabriel explains this. He says, we survey the earth as we look to avert natural disaster, loss of life, physical epidemic, weather manipulation, dangerous nuclear fallout and radiation entering into the cells of the body. We take a reading within mere seconds. By the computer of the mind of God, we seek out and we find those who are at a certain level of Christ consciousness, and instantaneously we direct the flow of light through them to avert cataclysm. A ray of God, as a scanning ray, is able to pinpoint on the planet who is able to receive that light that will save lives. When you are in the right state of mind, the angels will fill you with light so you hold a balance for your home and your city by the very light that is in you. All those who measure at that degree of light in that moment then become instruments. So when you take a day off from doing your decrees, or keeping yourself in right mindfulness, when you decide you're going to go on a binge or do this or do that and kind of, just take a day off from your spiritual responsibilities, that could be the very day when God would like to use you to fill you with light, fill you with His light on behalf of others. The angels will make of your body an electrode of light. And when you feel that light come upon you, take out this little decree book, sing the songs or say the decrees, multiply the light, and know that God is not giving you light just for your own private use. He's giving you that light because people around you need it, and their chakras and their bodies are not able to hold the light. And all you have to do is be decreeing for a little while, and pretty soon, with Archangel Michael, you can hold the light and you can protect the light. When you see great cataclysm, understand that at that time there were not enough souls vibrating at the level of the Christ self to avert mankind's returning karma as it precipitates in the earth. When you look on television and you see volcanoes erupting and all kinds of terrible calamities befalling people, and they're frightened and they're screaming and they're running, and you're sitting at home and you're protected in your living room, that's the time to call forth the light and direct it to those people who are having to run around to take care of their physical situation, and you are at a distance, but because we have television, you can get an exact mental photograph of that situation and direct all of your light and decrees to it and send millions of angels to help those people. That makes life worth living. It makes you feel useful, that this is a law that will act in your behalf. The angels are there. God has set them in place. You are the beloved sons and daughters of God, and you can do something about world problems. Isn't that a cause for joy? Archangel Gabriel calls himself the joyous archangel. He says in no uncertain terms that there is a war to be won for the saving of your souls, a war that you yourself must wage. But he says this path can be one of perpetual joy. Gabriel teaches, it is mandatory that you roll up your sleeves and recognize that you are responsible for each errant footstep that you have ever taken in this and all previous lives. By directing the violet flame into the records of those errant footsteps, you can balance your karma. Gabriel says, unless you retrace your errant footsteps, another may step into the pitfalls of your former self and former path. This is an age when the true seekers of God must recognize a cosmic accountability for thoughts and feelings sown in the winds. Gabriel says the path you walk in reaping your karma is not a sorrowful way. It is not one of drudgery. He says the path is one of perpetual joy. Joy because you're looking on the right side of the situation. Each time you encounter a problem, a burden, a catastrophe, you invoke the light and keep on invoking it until the problem is solved. So if you look at the problem, you're going to be negative. If you look at the solution, and you know it's absolutely forthcoming because God keeps His promises. God always keeps His promises through His angels. If you don't trust anyone else in the universe, trust God and know His judgments are true and righteous, even though they may set us back. They come to teach us, and we have to be willing to take responsibility for our mistakes. So the path is one of perpetual joy because day by day, by the Holy Spirit's violet transmuting flame, you cast into the sacred fire the debris of your karma of the centuries. Gabriel says there is joy in this path as no other joy you have ever known. There is joy in conquering yourself. There is joy in defeating the enemy that lurks within the garments of yourself. Whether it be the enemy of greed or the enemy of overindulgence in food as gluttony, whether it be the enemy of selfishness or spiritual blindness, there is joy in conquering yourself. There is a self-fulfilling joy in becoming all that you are. If there is one thing you should remember about Archangel Gabriel, it is that he is your friend. In one dictation he said, I am your friend. You know me well, and when you see me coming and you are in your light body in the etheric highways, you say, Hail, Gabriel, friend of old. And we greet one another as comrades, and we embrace. On another occasion, Gabriel promised, I am Gabriel, comforter of life. I am here, and I shall not leave you, each one until you have fulfilled your reason for being. Think of that promise Gabriel has made to the soul of every person on earth. I will not leave you until you have fulfilled your reason for being. You are not alone. That is the message of Gabriel. I decided that people needed handy reminders of the angels and prayers to give to them. So I created these wallet-sized charts of angels. So here's Archangel Gabriel with a prayer on the back. Here is Charity, the Archaea of Chamuel. Here's Archangel Michael, another Archangel Michael. This is Raphael. This is Mary, the Virgin of the Globe, and another Mary, complement of Raphael. So they all have prayers. So you get into a traffic jam, you're stuck somewhere on the highway, you pull out your wallet, get out one of your cards, say your prayers, and call to the angels. Archangel Gabriel dictated to me the book, Mysteries of the Holy Grail. It explains 18 mysteries of God as Archangel Gabriel taught them to me. It includes chapters on the mysteries of Christ, the sacred Eucharist, the Incarnation, Armageddon, and consciousness. I would like to tell you a story in the Mysteries of the Holy Grail that has to do with a request I once made of Archangel Gabriel. I received a call from a mother whose son of about 7 or 8 had been shot at close range with a .30-06 rifle by the neighborhood bully. As soon as I received the phone call, I called to Archangel Gabriel. I made such a deep, intense heart call to Gabriel. I will never forget, I saw him step out of the sun in answer to my call and descend to the side of this child. I was absolutely determined in my heart that he would come and that he would save this child's life. Not for one moment did I ever doubt it, because I know Archangel Gabriel and I know he keeps his promises. Over the years, I've developed a very close personal relationship to Archangel Gabriel simply by tugging on his garment all the time. You can do the same. I'm not a special person. The specialness of God is in you. You just have to prime the pump and use it. When you do this with any of the archangels, you will see how swiftly they will respond to your calls. I saw him descend, and he went to the bedside of that boy. The bullet had entered the child's right side, went through his liver and spleen, passed within 3/8 of an inch of his heart, shattered his elbow, and lodged in his wrist. Daily, I kept the vigil. I visualized this boy absolutely whole, absolutely perfect, in every one of the places where this bullet had passed. Every 24 hours, I stopped everything and concentrated on Gabriel and this boy and gave my fervent heart calls to God. This is because someone on earth, anyone, it could have been any one of you, had to give Gabriel the authority to act and intercede on earth, the law of free will. When you are keeping the vigil for someone who has a serious physical problem, you must tend the flame at least once in each 24 hours. Each and every day for months, I saw Archangel Gabriel minister to this child while he went through operations, hospitalizations, and convalescence. The doctor said the only reason he survived was his will to live. The child came to be known as the miracle child of Kootenai Hospital in Idaho. Then came the day I was in California at our church there. It was an Easter sunrise service that I conducted. And when this little child came through the line with his grandmother to receive Holy Communion, I looked at him with such joy in my heart, I could not hold back the tears. All I could say to him was, "Are you whole?" And he said, "Yes, Mother, I am whole." It was the thrill of my life. This incident reinforced for me the simple but profound message we often hear from Gabriel's divine complement, the Archeia Hope. The message is, never give up. Understand why the flame of hope, says Archeia Hope, is my charge and destiny. To keep alive but a flicker of hope in the hearts of the children of the sun is to preserve the opening for the entree of the Lord Christ or any angel or cosmic being into the world of that one. Hope says that she and Gabriel and their angels work to expand a purity that is like steel. She says, can you imagine compressed light so fiery as to be stronger than the strongest wall, harder than the hardest hardness known? It is the concentration of light that does make the aura impervious to despair. Are you impervious to despair? All of us have to be. The world is despondent. People are in despair everywhere. They are depressed. Depression is a national illness. You cannot allow it to creep into your heart or your mind or your soul. You have to put on that tube of light, and the moment you tend to feel a little bit negative, a little bit down, a little bit hopeless, you have to fight and call to the angels to bind those demons of despair and not let them in your house, not let them near your children, not let them destroy your beautiful marriage or your extended family or your community or your neighborhood. Despair is a despicable vibration, and it knocks on everyone's door, and we need to be careful, because if we let our children eat too much sugar, then they start getting depressed just from sugar and then from all that caffeine in their soft drinks that they take in and all the unbalanced diets that they eat. Depression can be from biochemistry, and it can be from the astral plane. Archeia Hope says you must beware of false and misplaced hope, hope that you place in individuals who do not have a tie to God and only bring disillusionment. We trust in God, we hope in Him, and we commend all people to Him. But let's not put our trust and faith in mortals, because that's idolatry. Let's remember that our hope is in God, and He will not fail us. The Archeia Hope teaches it is important to hope in the realm of the possible, for if you continually hope for that which cannot be, because it violates God's law or is not practical or probable, you will soon be lost in daydreams and fantasies where nothing comes to pass. Thus, the secret of hoping and rejoicing in hope is to hope for those things which you know can, should, must, shall, and are now presently possible for you.
For more information on how angels can make a difference in your life, call toll-free 1-800-245-5445. The preceding program was presented by Summit University, Box 5000, Livingston, Montana, 59047 5000. If you'd like to know more, call this number or write this address. For a free book on the spiritual path, call 1-800-245-5445. That's 1-800-245-5445.